Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whatever time zone you're in listening to this. It is Friday, August 21st, and this is the Caitlin Francis Show. I'm your host, Caitlin Francis, and I just have quite a few thoughts today on motherhood and what we can be doing as mothers and women to not be weak and not be weak minded because there's a big story going on right now in the news and on X and Instagram, and I assume TikTok. I'm neither on Instagram nor TikTok, so this is just what I'm hearing secondhand. But I'm definitely on X, and so I've been seeing all sorts of stories and information about Lacey Clancy, I believe is her last name. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. If you have been living under a rock, which I actually, after listening to this episode, I hope you will go live under a rock for a little while. But if you have been living under a rock, Lacey is currently being charged with murdering her three children while she claims to have been under the influence of postpartum psychosis. Now, I am not going to comment on her case almost at all because I have not really listened to any of it. I just kind of know what I've read based on a few posts on X, and I just can't go into it because my heart can't handle it. And so I'm gonna talk a little bit about that too as we go on in this afternoon. But my heart can literally not handle the story. But what my heart can handle is all of the I don't want to say backlash because I guess that's the wrong word. All of the conversation and all of the content that this has in fact started. So I wanted to talk about the content and all of the discussion that has gone on around women and mothers and postpartum depression and postpartum psychosis and all of these things that this has sort of brought up. If you've seen any of these videos on TikTok or Instagram, I've been seeing them like reposted on X. There are mothers that are posting themselves with their tiny children crying to clips of the trial, the lawyer for Lacey reading diary entries from her and like crying with their children and then posting it on the internet. Now, this isn't really very new. There's also a couple videos I've seen circulating that have been on X before, on Instagram and TikTok before, of mothers who are filming themselves having like rage attacks, like throwing ice into the bathtub or hitting the doors with pillows, doing things that are like not going to actually really hurt anybody in order to get this like rage of motherhood out. This is certainly not a new thing. We've seen this for years at this point on Instagram and TikTok. Mothers complaining about motherhood or sharing their stories about their postpartum depression. And I want to be really clear about something because I've had four kids. And I certainly struggled after all four of them with, I guess I would call it postpartum depression. I don't really like to call it that because I never really got like diagnosed by a doctor. But it was certainly, there's certainly a lot of things that happen to you after you've had babies. And I don't think that anybody, except for the idiot right wing trolls on the internet right now, is I don't think anybody is dismissing that. I feel like there's a cycle that goes on in the internet where we want to talk about things that are important and we want to talk about things that happen to everybody, and um, the the idea behind it or the intention behind it is good. Like obviously depression and things like that thrive in darkness, right? Like they thrive when you're by yourself in your house, just staring at your four walls. And so I think that the intention behind speaking about those kinds of things is good. And I think that there can be some just awareness in the culture for mental health issues and for postpartum issues specifically. I think that it's good to talk about your struggles with friends and family. And sometimes it's even good to talk about it on the internet because you can help other women uh, to know that they're not alone in these struggles. The problem that, of course, I have with all of this as just a general feeling of, oh my gosh, everything is so terrible for women after they have babies, is that that is simply not true. Certainly, there is depression and there is psychosis and there is all sorts of things that happen after you have children. And I'm not dismissing that. So please don't hear me saying that. What I am dismissing is the idea that if you experience any of these things, that you are trapped and that you are a victim and that you have no control over these situations. Now, certainly there'll be people that will say that, oh my gosh, of course there's times when that you absolutely have no control over your brain. And so please hear me. That's not what I'm talking about. I don't have any, I have no personal experience with postpartum psychosis or things like that, where your brain is truly messed up. What I have extensive personal experience with is what you would call postpartum depression and postpartum rage. And those things certainly make you feel like you are out of control of your body. And I just would like to speak to anyone out there who is listening and just tell you that you are not out of control. There are multiple things that you can do as a mom, as a wife, to help yourself get out of the depression, to help yourself get out of the anxiety. Now, please do not hear me say that you can just think your way out of it. I did not say you could pray your way out of it. I am of the opinion that some people are going to need some drugs to help them. And that is something that you need to decide with your husband. And you need to decide with older women in your life or people that you love and trust. So please don't hear me say that you can't use drugs to get out of your depression. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that our culture has become so obsessed with mental health issues that we have trapped a whole generation of women into this idea that they absolutely have terrible postpartum depression and there's nothing anybody can do to help them. And that is simply false. There are certainly much higher levels of postpartum depression that we recognize now. And like I said earlier, I think that that's good. I think that we need to be talking about that kind of stuff. And I think that it's good that we have a public perception of a woman's hormones dropping and changing and being insane after you have a baby. That is a real thing that happens. That is a real medical thing that happens. But what I am saying is that we do not need to make an entire generation of women victims of their own hormonal changes. What I know that nobody needs is another podcast explaining all the ins and outs of the things that you can do for your postpartum depression. I'm pretty sure that we all know by now that if you really are struggling, you need to speak with your doctor and you need to figure out if there is some form of drug that you can use. Of course, my thought process on that is to please make sure that it's not something that you need to use for your lifetime. Take it if you need for now to get yourself above the water, and then use all of the resources at your disposal to get yourself off of that medication so that you can function as a clear thinking mother to your children. I think that there's a lot of things that one can do after we have. I think the first best thing you need to do is you need to name what you have, and you need to speak with a doctor, husband, whatever, older woman at your church, older woman that you trust, and then you have to rise above it. So I think that the culture is really good at telling us, like, okay, we need to talk about it, we need to go to the doctor about it, but they're very bad at telling us that we can, in fact, rise above it. We are not weakling. Just because you're a woman doesn't make you some weak, incompatible, unable to pull yourself above your struggles woman. This doesn't just apply to postpartum depression. This applies to your financial situation. This applies to your homeschooling situation. This applies to your marriage. This applies to your children. This applies to situations with your family and with your neighbors. Keeping women trapped in a mindset of victimhood is Satan's best strategy for keeping families and culture and society at large a hot mess. It's his best strategy. He wants us captured. He wants us vulnerable. He wants us weepy and tired and always searching for the next answer and up late on TikTok watching other people struggle the same as we're struggling. Satan is a liar. and his demons are liars, and they are running rampant through the halls of the internet currently, and as long as the internet has been around. This is nothing new. This is just another iteration of the way that Satan is going to take the technology or the things that we have, and he's going to twist them and use them to keep us all captive, because captive people do not make good choices, and captive women especially do not make good choices. And so the issue here is really not that women are going to TikTok and Instagram to find solidarity and talk about their issues. The issue here is that these women are making these TikToks and these Instagram reels of them essentially saying, we are all Lindsay now, right? We're all Lindsay. We've all been through this kind of a thing. And it's just, by sheer luck or sheer, willpower, or maybe not even willpower, I'm not sure. It's just sheer luck, I guess, that we also haven't all just killed our kids. And that's a big leap for somebody to take. I'm okay with, let's talk about how we all struggle. Let's talk about the different things that we've done to cope. Even the throwing ice videos, while I think are performative and stupid, are to me, okay, I guess maybe that's a good way to get rid of some of your anger. I, of course, say this as somebody who had a lot of postpartum rage, and so I can understand the feelings behind why you would maybe want to do that, why you would want to film it and put it on the internet for everybody to see. That to me is just performative and unnecessary. You need to go talk to somebody about it. When I was having so much anger that I was throwing dishes into my sink to break them because I was just so overwhelmed by my rage, I talked to my husband and I talked to my mom and I prayed and I calmed down about it. I didn't film it. For heaven's sakes, I'm ashamed that I did that. That was stupid behavior. That was unhinged behavior. And just because you feel a certain way, my point does not mean that you have to act a certain way. And so when we have videos like this circulating, or we have videos of these women essentially saying, I too have had such bad postpartum that I have planned on killing my children. There is a difference between thoughts of suicide or thoughts of anxious harm, or just those intrusive thoughts you get where you're like, what if the baby just fell down the stairs, or what if he just fell into the pool? Those kinds of unintended thoughts are much, much, much different than actually carrying out any kind of thing or planning to carry out any kind of thing. So the idea that we're all Lindsay now because we've all had these terrible thoughts, that is weak-minded, cult sort of behavior. This is not okay. Okay. And so what I'm intending to say here is you don't have to be weak. We don't have to be weak-minded women. Satan wants us weak, and he wants us weak-minded, and he wants us in our houses staring at our phones all day. There are videos circulating of women crying in their kitchens. Oh, I'm so trapped. And I understand. Look, I called my mom multiple times after I had my little babies, feeling trapped in my own house. And she would say to me, Caitlin, have you gone outside today? Have you been on a walk? Why are you doing these things? This is silliness. Please put the baby in the carrier and go take her on a walk. And I think that women either don't want to be told that they're being silly, or they haven't been told that they're being silly, or they have no one to tell them that they're being silly. I'm a little unclear on all of that. But essentially what I'm going to tell you in this episode, and if this is all you hear from me today, excellent. Stop being dumb. Stop being weak. You are neither dumb nor weak. You are a woman who has been gifted with children to raise them up and to be good humans and good citizens. And you are a good human because you have had these children and you have created them. And now you get to be strong for them. Go be strong for these kids. Don't sit on TikTok. Don't sit on Instagram and commiserate with these women who have that have postpartum depression. That's fine. I also had postpartum depression. I figured it out. I treated it. We all came out the other side, because part of the reason was because I had people in my life that were telling me, don't be weak. You don't need to be weak, because you're not weak. You're so strong that you had a whole human being come out of your body. Please be so serious right now. One of the best books that I ever read for during postpartum, I don't remember which kid I had. I've had 4 kids. I don't remember which one I had like when I read this book. But it was called Long Days of Small Things, and I'll put it in the caption below. And I'm not Catholic, but it's like a Catholic book, so do with that what you will. But it was so instrumental in just reminding me to rewire the way that I look at the long days full of small things, full of repetitive, endless things. It reminded me to like seek out the beauty and the rest and the calm in my motherhood. If you are having trouble seeking out the beauty and the rest and the calm in your motherhood, may I challenge you to go live under a rock. Hand the weight of the world to your husband and say to him, you take care of knowing all the things right now. I am going to take care of my children. And sometimes that includes living in the world of the internet. There are times in my life when I have completely shut the internet out. There are times in my life like now when I have brought the internet back in. I enjoy it. It makes me happy. It sharpens my brain and it makes me better at arguing my positions. And I really enjoy being a part of it. If you are not enjoying being on the internet, please get yourself off the internet. If you find yourself commiserating with women who are commiserating with somebody who killed her children, please get yourself off the internet. Go and use the strength that God has given you to be a mother to say to yourself, I'm not doing this today. We're not doing this today. I am a full person and I am capable of being strong for my children, and I don't have to wallow over here in the corner. It's okay to have days when you wake up and you want to wallow. It's okay to have days when you wake up and your brain is cloudy and you feel like you're going to lose it and everybody is making you angry. Ladies, that is okay. It is what you do after you realize that that's what your day is. It's how you choose. I tell this to my kids all the time. It's okay to be angry. It's what you choose to do with your anger. It's okay to be depressed. It's what you choose to do with your depression. So choose to do the thing that will make you a better mom. If that means taking your kids outside, if that means finding a support group, if that means going to a Christian counselor, if that means getting some medicine, if that means, I don't know what it means for you, but you are in charge of you and you have the strength to do this. Stop being weak-minded. Don't let the internet make you weak-minded. Go be a strong woman because God created you to be strong and you can be strong. The last thing I want to say is that you should be praying about all these things all the time too, obviously. And you should be reaching out to somebody who can support you. If you don't believe in prayer, I want you to pray anyway. I don't know who this reaches. I'm sure most of my 7 listeners, whom I love dearly, are just like my friends and family at this point, and that's fine. But I want you to pray, even if you don't believe in prayer. If somehow this reaches you somewhere randomly, I want you to pray anyway. The Lord is near to all who ask for him. He is not going to require some sort of something to get into his presence. He is just there if you ask him, and he will be there for you. He will guide you in the things that you need to do. And if you want to reach out, if you are struggling, please leave me a comment below. I will check my comments. I will try to get in touch. But that is all for me today. I just want to remind you that you are loved and God loves you, and you do not have to be weak. Don't be a weak-minded woman. Go be a strong woman for your children and for your husband. Have a great day.